Hello lands, lassies, and those of unspecified gender, it's the Irishman here, and today we're going to be talking about what would have happened if Gohan had God Ki. This is the second part to this what if, and if you haven't seen the first part, I would definitely recommend you go check that video out in the description or pinned comment. There will be a playlist that takes you not only to that video, but also this one for your viewing ease. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into the story of this what if. The group is heading to Namek, separated into two subgroups, one that would consist of Goku, Piccolo, and Vegeta, all doing gravity training in a much faster ship, although they would have left later, so the two groups arrive on Namek at about the same time. The first group consists of Gohan, Krillin, Tien, and Roshi, who would all be practicing their enlightened forms, and for Gohan, trying to access his pseudo-god form, which is different from enlightened but also weaker than Super Saiyan God outright. The reason they human fighters decided not to do gravity training is because they didn't really trust it. They have no real information on it aside from what Vegeta and Goku tell them about. Goku went into the hyperbolic time chamber. He's already trained in 10 times gravity and knows what it's like and how effective it can be, whereas Vegeta grew up on a planet with that same level of gravity, and his strength goes to show how effective gravity can be in terms of increasing your battle power. So those two were already going to do gravity training. Piccolo only decided to go along because he has a regeneration factor that could push him to be able to do it, even if it's dangerous, and he really doesn't want to lose the sort of rivalry he has with Goku. He's already a little weaker, and if he doesn't partake in gravity training, that gap will only widen, and if he were to go with the human fighters, he doesn't have any sort of transformation to perfect, and therefore he would stay stagnant in terms of power, aside from a little boost from meditation. Now, as to save time, I won't actually delve into power levels outright. Rather, I'll just put them on the screen and allow my future self to do all of this, rather than having to explain it and, again, waste time. Now, the two groups arriving on Namek would all go in search of the Dragon Balls, after Bulma modifies a couple Dragon Radars, that way it can pick up on Namekian Dragon Ball energy rather than Earth Dragon Balls, as that'd be pretty useless here. They have similar frequencies, so it's not too hard, and they're able to get at it as quick as possible. And they're able to find a couple of Dragon Balls right off the bat, although there is one person who wouldn't actually be going out on a scavenger hunt, at least not for Dragon Balls. Rather, Vegeta would be going off to hunt down every single Frieza soldier he can find. The first to fall would be Qui, as Vegeta had a particular disdain for this member of Frieza's army. The fact that the two always had a rivalry, despite the fact Vegeta was the prince of an esteemed warrior race, always got under the Saiyan's skin. So he decided to take out this weakling, now that he actually was a weakling in comparison to Vegeta. Qui would be thrown up into the air, and with a dirty firework, he would be nothing but smoldering ash. Now, sadly, Vegeta can't get to Zarbon and Dodoria, as they are right next to Frieza, standing so close to their precious Emperor, the only reason they're still breathing. If it wasn't for that, then Vegeta would have hunted them down maybe even before Qui, as those two were a pain in his backside for quite some time, and he would love to see the smirks fade from their faces as they are promptly blown away. But he can't do that right now, so rather he goes after every single weakling Frieza soldier that he could find, saving countless Namekians and actually somewhat becoming a hero in their eyes, which is sort of a welcome change of pace for the prince, as he'd never really been given any sort of positive interaction with alien races. Usually they were afraid as he was terrorizing them, but now he's terrorizing people who are attacking these people. So they're kind of praising him, and he loves it. This is sort of a stepping stone for Vegeta's path to redemption. He's not there yet, but this is certainly going to help. Now, as for the rest of the gang, they would all be in search of the Dragon Balls, with 3 exceptions: Gohan, Roshi, and Bulma. The reason for this being that Bulma is physically just as strong as a regular Earthling, and even though she's incredibly intelligent, when facing against evil space warriors, there's not really anything she can do, so they want to make sure she's safe. The three would all be staying in a friendly Namekian village. Gohan would be there because, well, he's one of the weaker members of the group. Unless he activates power he has little control over. Yeah, he can activate it when he's hard-pressed to, and he is incredibly powerful when he does, but again, he doesn't have amazing control over it and can only use it in rare circumstances, so they want to make sure he's safe. Plus, Goku promised Chi-Chi he wouldn't be put in any sort of imminent danger, so yeah, he's staying back. Roshi would be there not only to watch over the kid, but also make sure Bulma's safe. He, yes, is a perv and would make several advances on Bulma, but he also knows when to take no for an answer, and would also be there just to protect the young lady. He understands that women and children are no real place for a battlefield, and wants to make sure if worse goes to worse, he's able to protect them. And he wants to see Bulma undressed, but that's entirely unrelated, okay? This would also be the village that Dende, his brother, and his father reside in. But that's also kind of a problem, because that's the village that Frieza attacks, with Zarbon and Midoriya by his side. Roshi would step in when he hears the sound of blasting going on, Namekians being slaughtered, and children crying for help. He springs into action with his enlightened form activated, and would take down Zarbon and Midoriya with relative ease, landing them on the ground, and then throwing them to the side with a powerful Kamehameha, landing them unconscious and near dead. But he knew to hold back because he isn't a cold-blooded killer. He tells them to go back to wherever they came from, and not to hurt these kind of people. They are peaceful and do not deserve this type of war. But Frieza just laughs. He is multiple times stronger than Roshi in his first form, so yeah, the old man has no chance here. He shoots a death beam straight through the right side of Roshi's chest, and then says next time he'll aim for the heart if the old man doesn't just stand down and hand over the Dragon Ball. It's their only chance for survival, and he knows they have at least one. The old hermit stands tall though, declaring that he will not allow monsters, demons, or whatever stands in front of him to threaten the innocent as long as blood still flows through his veins. He then jumps back, activating his buff mode on top of enlightenment, and then seemingly flying into the air. As Ki circles around him, spiraling into his hands, a Kamehameha is charged. As he states this will be the strongest one ever performed. He then blasts it straight at Frieza, and as it is incoming you hear the Emperor laughing. Yet that quickly fades as the attack engulfs him, destroying the car he floats in and hurting him substantially, although he is able to stand back up and brush it off. It hurt like hell, but it did not kill him. He powers up into his second form, saying that although that was impressive, it is nothing to him now. The Turtle Hermit then floats down to the ground, approached by Elder Mori offering to heal his wounds so he can jump back in, maybe do what he did again, but Frieza instantly sends a death beam straight through Elder Mori's skull, hitting his brain and killing him on the spot. Roshi is immediately enraged, but there's nothing he can do. He used all of his power, and even if he was healed back up to full, even if he launched that same attack again, it would do nothing now. Frieza is so far stronger than him at this point, there is nothing that he could do. The only reason he was able to hurt Frieza before is because he was caught off guard. And even then, now if that attack was launched, Frieza wasn't even paying attention, it would do nothing to him. His power is so far beyond the human, there's nothing he can do but fall to his knees. He embraces death knowing it will come shortly, but then it doesn't. As Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo land on the battlefield, telling Roshi to take Dende and Gohan to Elder Kuru, someone who can help them achieve their full potential and have a chance in this fight. Roshi sits there for a moment longer, before then hearing the voice of Krillin in his ear, telling him it's okay. He understands that he gave it his all, but now it's time to go. He picks up the Turtle Hermit, the person who has been his master for so long, but now that Krillin has finally surpassed. He picks him up and carries him to Guru's home, with Tien carrying Dende and Gohan. Piccolo would carry Bulma, and although it is awkward for the young lady, it's better than Roshi, she guesses. Goku and Vegeta would have gotten the Ikari form from Guru, the ability to use Great Ape and Base just like Broly from his movie, although they're not able to use it in the same way he did. They aren't growing while using this power, they just get a flat 10 times increase, but this is enough to push Frieza into his third and even final form, although after he unlocks his fourth transformation and uses it against these two monkeys, they're proven to basically just be that, and yeah, there's nothing really they can do to change that. They have more than surpassed the power they came here with, and even though Great Ape is amazing, it's just not enough right now. So they're banking on buying Gohan, Roshi, and Piccolo some time, that way they can come back with the rest of the humans to help maybe gang up on Frieza. That's what they're doing with just the two of them, but they're hoping that with a few more fighters, they're able to gain some sort of a lead. As to the power that these three would unlock, it would be pretty incredible. Piccolo would have gotten the potential unleashed form that he got in the superhero movie, although I'm not going to say it's as strong as Gohan's potential unleashed form he got from Elder Kai. That was a much different ritual, and it was Gohan's potential, which is much more than Piccolo's in the original story. So we're going to say that this is a 50 times increase, still very powerful and would let him fight alongside Goku and Vegeta against Frieza, but it's not something insane like in the movie. Now, as for Gohan, he would actually be gifted something very useful, the Ikari form, much like his father and Vegeta. Although the reason that this is so useful for him is because it means he's able to use his God Ki much more effectively, since the Great Ape form was letting him use it pretty well in the last part, and here it would be no different. And now with Great Ape and God Ki stacked on top of each other, they have a bit of an odd mix, although we'll get more onto that in a minute. Roshi would be gifted a large amount of, well, clarity. What I'm saying here is rather than having a big strength increase or some sort of new transformation, he is having all of these skills that might have rusted over in the last few hundred or so years be restored to him. He's practically back up to his prime, although his physical ability is still the same as it was before. They each kind of got their own sort of ability. Guru didn't just give people strength increases, he gave Dende the ability to heal, and he would still heal, which would be very useful for the rest of the group. Getting back to the fight with Frieza though, Piccolo would throw his weight into the ring, stepping in and saving Vegeta from a near-fatal shot, a death beam aimed straight for the prince's heart. Although Piccolo was able to swat it away with relative ease, he is a bit shocked at his own strength, but he keeps going, as if it's nothing at all. He rushes towards Frieza, who believes that no Namekian is really that strong, it was some sort of a fluke, so he prepares to face tank the attack, scaring the ever-loving bejeebus out of this green man, although he's quite surprised when the attack connects and hurts quite a lot. A sucker punch straight to the face, which even makes him bleed. This is not going to fly. The Emperor powers up from 10% to 20%, which proves to be quite a challenge for Piccolo. That is until Goku and Vegeta step back in, now healed by Dende, who would have actually gifted them a pretty big Zenkai from this healing, which is going to help them quite a bit in this fight. The Zenkais in the Frieza saga were incredible, so Goku and Vegeta go from 500,000, like I said before, to 1 million, which is pretty insane when you think about it, because now both of them in their Ikari forms have power levels of 10 million each. Paired with Piccolo's, I think 20 million now, means 40 million in total, which would mean that Frieza has to power up to around 50% to be able to take all of them on now. Sorry for throwing around all those numbers. I'd usually like to just put some text on screen to explain it, but I kinda had to actually speak it aloud here just in case you guys missed it. I usually have gameplay on the screen anyway, and most of you are probably listening while doing something else anyways. So yeah, Frieza is incredibly powerful at 50%, 60 million in total, which is able to eclipse the entire group, and puts all of them on a back foot, although the fact that he had to actually resort to using 50% is, well, not exactly something he's too pleased with. So he decides to make it a bit easier on himself. He kills Piccolo right off the bat, throwing a death ball straight at the Namekian and eviscerating him. There is no regenerating from that, unless you're Cell. So yeah, Piccolo is dead and gone, which definitely stunts the group's power quite a bit. That is, until Gohan enters the scene. The young Saiyan would have activated the Ikari form just out of pure rage. He saw somebody he looked up to be slaughtered mercilessly in front of him. So, yeah, he's pretty ticked off. But on top of that, God Ki is beginning to circle around him. Energy from deep within now beginning to merge with his Saiyan potential. Godly power and Saiyan genetics now beginning to mix perfectly. Although his body can't contain it, he's undergoing a different kind of evolution, a transformation that his body cannot control. He begins to be torn apart from the inside. The energy is too much, he can't contain it all, so Dende steps over, healing him faster than his body can be torn apart, and thanks to Saiyan biology, he's gaining Zenkais, which act like a shield, protecting his body as he begins to get stronger in base while the transformation is being contained. Eventually, in front of the young Namekian is a ruby-haired god. Gohan's transformation would be controlled and perfected, as now his body can finally handle the full extent of its birthright. Gohan is a Super Saiyan God.